I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I felt a lot of women refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take all your money and whatever else bring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
Down by the water, maybe I'm a son, maybe I'm a daughter. When the music man calls, that's when I gotta play. So I burn for the things I never had.
Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of the new. Oh, na 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 na. Seems to me that I have lost my old friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid, you're feeling alone. Time and space can never afford. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghostly embrace can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of the blue. Oh, na 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 na. Sitting at the lake, I'm feeling confused, but I had my guitar, so I played this blues. But I'm afraid, what might be true, that I might never be back
Someone to take me down at night. Someone to make my day. New revelation fills my soul. Oh, I can waste away. You distracting my attention. You're all that's on my mind. You not looking for perfection, but you're too hard to find. Now the first night is coming, and I know what to do. You know that nothing feels real than someone knows.
Check 1, 2.
All right. Where did my color go? Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control, using a powerful hand. I wanna be you, I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rackets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn a new way. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. You're going black and white on the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue.
And hello, good evening, everybody. How's it going out in Nashville?
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Come on, pizza video is not working. And he's out. Okay, there you go. See, Roland, I told you the glitch happened, and Pete
Yeah.
just came back on.
You saw the
And
future.
there you go. And Pete is in. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our Wednesday night edition of AstroWorld TV. And tonight we are pleased to have Roland Archer with Voyager software. And he's going to be showing us a bunch of things regarding his acquisition software throughout the night. And but before we do get into all that, I got to talk about our sponsors. And I think, can everybody hear me? I think everybody can hear me okay. And if I could just, let's see. And sorry, doing everything at once. And gosh, all right, sorry. So our sponsors, again, at the main sequence level is Woodland Hills. So thank you to Woodland Hills. At our Red Giant level, we have Prima Luce Lab and Camera Concepts. And at our Super Giant level, we have Masters of PixInsight. So thank you to all of our sponsors that are soon. And for those of you that are interested in the giveaways that we're going to be doing starting on the 16th, get your name into the newsletter and get your email address registered with us so we can throw you on the wheel. We have almost 35 people now that have been registered for the giveaways. So thank you for all the support, and it's just wonderful. And also we have, let's see, we have a lot of guests coming up, and if I could roll the nice little ticker that I have here. And there we go. So tonight, obviously, we got Roland Archer. And then on the 18th, we got Hendrik Bieseman with the Star Aid. And the 25th, Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific is going to be on. The 6th, we got Bob Denny. He's going to be giving us a rundown of Alpaca. And 4/13, we have Charles Bracken, who is going to be on the show. And he's an author of Deep Sky Imaging Primer, and also a bunch of other books that I have as well floating around. So thank you so much for everybody coming on and the support. It's wonderful. So that being said, I had the opportunity last night to be on the Global Star Party for Explore Scientific. And that was a wonderful thing. I know Senthil said something in the chat already. But thank you for everybody that came over that doesn't normally watch it. Thank you for coming and showing the support on that as well. So that being said, that's why I actually did it in less. I'm starting to get this down under 7 minutes, and I'm starting to talk a little bit slower. So that's a good thing. I was told I talk too fast, and again, it's something that I've been dealing with for about 51 years, and I've never gotten a handle on it. So Roland, tell us a little bit about yourself, Voyager software, and all the acquisition stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Dan, and thanks everybody for having me on the show. And my position with Voyager is sort of an honorary evangelist. I'm not the author of the software, but I've been using it for 3 years, and I work a lot with Leonardo Arazzi, who is the developer. He is Voyager. And I've been helping him out. I'll tell you the story of how it got started. I had one scope running with an ACP setup, which was working great. And I had a second scope, and I decided, well, all those license fees, maybe I should just play around a little bit and see what else is out there. And I tried pretty much everything. I have a website that has a survey of imaging software where I kind of took my notes and wrote everything down. I'm actually thinking it wouldn't be a bad thing to do a wiki on so people could keep it updated, because it's now about 2 years old and, everything changes. But anyway, long story short, I found Voyager. It had this Italian documentation, and I decided to throw it into Google Translate and see what came out. And lo and behold, I was up and running with Voyager, and really got everything working in one evening, plate solving and autofocus and, on and on. So I was impressed, and I decided, well, I'm kind of a software tinkerer, and it might be fun to build a wiki and play with it. So I contacted Leo and said, hey, I'm thinking of documenting your software on a wiki. What do you think? Would does that be okay? And he goes, yeah, go to it. So I started building the wiki, and like all software developers, I said it'll be done in 2 weeks. And about 6 months later,
Yeah, famous last words.
yeah, we now have a very complete wiki that when you turn it into a PDF, it's like 400 pages. So,
Oh my goodness.
But, I guess some people still like to have a 400-page manual. I just like the search bar in the wiki personally. So I started using Voyager, and it worked great. And kind of got involved with helping Leo introduce it to people over here. And a lot of new exciting things happening with Voyager. It's added something called RoboTarget, which is currently in beta, which is a concept of an automated scheduler. So you essentially load all your desired targets into a database, and it decides the best time to run them based on the constraints that you might, add for each target. So currently here I have 3 scopes and a roll-off roof, and every North Carolina clear night, which is 6 to 8 a month if we're lucky, and if we're even luckier, 2 or 3 of those will not be around the full moon.
Yeah.
And we just run those scopes. And so 4 p.m, I turn on the PCs and start up Voyager, and that's it. Go have dinner and watch TV. And the next morning I've got a disk full of images. So then I actually use a combination of Cyril and Guess to calibrate. So I've got that all down to one button push as well, because I was sort of loading all my images, blinking them, calibrating them, and it was starting to take all day, just to get all the images processed, just pre-processed from the night before. There's got to be a way to push button this. I mean, I'm sitting here just, like a robot pushing the same buttons over and over again.
Yep.
So I actually found a good way to do that. So anyway, I've got for the presentation tonight, I've got maybe 10, 15 minutes of slides to show you kind of some of the things that are harder to demonstrate about Voyager when we're not under clear skies. And then I can do a demo. I've got the SkyX set up, which has some excellent simulators. So it almost looks like it's, really controlling a scope.
Nice.
Even taking pictures and doing downloads from DSS for, for virtual images, if you will.
Cool. Yeah.
So happy to run through that for you guys whenever you're ready. You say the word. I know you've got some preliminaries here. So.
No, yeah, just you hit the share screen and I'll put it up.
Okay. You ready to roll?
Yep.
Let's see. Share your stream. It's giving me a long list here.
It should just be share screen button in the bottom middle.
Down the bottom, not the share up at the top. Got it.
Yeah, no, yeah, not that. Yeah, down the bottom.
All right. Now I'm going to have the dilemma of looking at the screen and or looking at the camera.
Don't worry. Actually, you know what? I won't even do that. I'll just make your screen full screen, and then you won't have to worry about looking at the camera.
All right. All right. We're getting the famous infinite regression here.
There you go.
All right. That's better. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, I see what happens. I want to share a different screen here. Can I do that on the fly, or?
You could do share again.
Okay.
And it should come up on my side as the second share.
All right. Because what I want to do, I want to keep you guys on the screen that I'm not looking at while I'm working, just so if anything pops up, I can see it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I could do share and then share screen too. There you go.
No. All right. Well, we'll just do it.
Right. Well, it's not allowing you to share screen too?
No, I just, yeah, I've got it figured out. I'm swapping it, and when I swap it, it's going into its infinite inversion thing here.
Because all we see is the space. I guess it's the scope simulator.
Okay.
Right, now we see your.
Now you got the presentation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just won't be looking at the camera. So okay. I always like to be making a sort of the best to making eye contact while I'm presenting, but I'll be looking over here.
That's okay. No problem.
Over there.
So, that's okay. I won't even put the camera on while you're doing it. How about that?
Okay. So we're going to talk about Voyager today. As I said, I'll give an introduction. We'll talk a little bit about the kind of device support that it has. I've got some tables of key features. Since this is recorded, I won't have to go through them all, but you can freeze frame and check them out. We'll do a demo, and then we'll take a sneak peek at this automated scheduler that's been in beta now since January. So as I said, my background, like a lot of people, started as a teen with a Christmas present scope and then graduated to a 6-inch Newtonian. Even though I had an undergraduate degree in physics and astronomy, I ended up going over to the dark side of software and had a career that started as a development, but then moved into management and spent most of my career as a manager or executive in the software field. I'm sort of semi-retired now. I do some web development work. My most famous client is the Allman Brothers Band,
Nice.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. And then about 6 years back, I got into astronomy again. We were at a restore, which is the Habitat for Humanity surplus stores. And I saw a reflector sitting over in the corner for $50 and took it home, hooked it up. And about 2 weeks later, I started buying gear. And about 2 years ago, we moved out to the country. We're about 45 minutes northwest of Durham, North Carolina. And for the first time, I was able to see the Milky Way at night again since being a kid in Hudson Valley part of New York. And since I have all these fun scopes, I decided to have backyard observatories come down and build a roll-off roof. And everything is now automated. There's just a little 80 millimeter reflector, an ONTC 8-inch Newtonian over here. I've got a SCT 9 1/4 edge HD, and then a Dob, which mostly sits covered up. So let's talk about Voyager. So the thing that attracted me about Voyager was reliability, and I just found that it was more common than not when you run unattended to have something glitch. And ACP is certainly very good at reliability. And a lot of the other products that I tried, they'd work for a couple hours and then they'd glitch. Or I put in a cloud watcher so I could start and stop with the clouds, and it would things would stop when the clouds came in, and then they wouldn't start again, or they'd start again and they'd be in the wrong spot. So I was very attracted to Voyager's goal of reliability, and I think you'll see that goal really drives the architecture and the feature set, and also the quality. I mean, there's Leo Arazzi is a APOD winning astrophotographer. He definitely has his feelings about what makes quality image acquisition, and he's implemented a lot of those in the software. So this is Leo with his scope out in the Italian Alps, and he's been working on it now for 9 years on Voyager, and his background is doing professional real-time software for the banking industry. So obviously reliability is absolutely critical. And he wanted, because he was not fortunate enough to live in a dark sky location, he wanted to make sure that if he packed his gear up and drove for 4 hours somewhere and set it up for the night, that he came home with data and not with frustration. So, nowadays Voyager, which really started as a personal project for Leo, is being used all over the world by people who do setup and breakdown every night, to people with domes and roll-off roofs like my own, as well as professional observatories. So one of the things that struck me as unusual about Voyager was the range of options that you had for all your gear and software. They say there's a long list here. I'm not going to read it all, but I was impressed that I could use PhD2 for guiding at the same time as I use the SkyX for the camera, and I could use Pinpoint or ASTAP or for plate solving. And it also had excellent built-in autofocuser. But if you were someone who wants to use Focus Max or the SkyX at Focus, it supported those too. Leo often says Voyager is just a systems integrator. And I think that kind of underplays what it does, but it certainly is a systems integration tool. So some of the key features that, if you pop up a level from devices, you can run a single target sequence. You can run a script that runs multiple targets. And now with the automated scheduler, you'll be able to just load your targets into a database, and it'll know and choose what to run based on the current conditions. It's got very good autofocus built in, both single and multi-star. Say the guiding, it's got the ability to do dithering, guide star selection, or you can let your guiding software do the guide star selection. Precision pointing, which I think most tools have now. I'll show you that with the simulator. Did a great job on meridian flips. That always seemed to be an area where a lot of the products that I tried tended to get hung up. And once you get it properly configured, I can't think of the last time I worried about a meridian flip in the 3 years of running. Another key point was that I wanted, because I did want to run unattended all night while I slept. And so I have a weather detection device, and I wanted to make sure that if it had to suspend and come back 2 or 3 hours later, that when it came back, it didn't just pick up where it left off and start trying to shoot something that might have set. I want to make sure that it would actually be smart enough to say, okay, what should I go for now, based on the fact that it's 3 hours later, and it did that. It's also got a very nice tool, which it's totally optional, but it's also very easy. It's a drag and drop script builder. So think of it as a sequencer. You can pull actions onto an editor, and then it'll just do those actions for you. And I'll show you some simple examples, as well as a script that I use to run all night. It's got great support for flats. I do all sky flats now, but it also does panel flats. If you have an Alnitak flip flat, it'll support that. And you can just tell it the ADU target for your flats, and it'll adjust exposure length on the fly to reach them. Good alert system, email, SMS, Skype. And it has a very nice FITS viewer, which, again, with the focus on reliability, it's running in an external process. I'll show you that. And I say I've used it now for 3 years on 2 and 3 peers, and I've only lost data a couple of times, and those were my problem. And Leo's very, he adds new features on a very regular basis, and he makes the development builds, as he called it. They're tested, but they're sort of the interim builds between major releases available. And I just pull those down and install them everywhere, and I've never had a problem just running his development test builds. This is what the FITS file viewer looks like. You can hook it up to automatically display the last shot. It uses the PixInsight auto stretch algorithm, which I think makes a really nice looking display. I think SGP looks really nice too, but I've seen some very expensive products that just have some pretty awful looking images on the fly. There's a web dashboard. We'll see if we can hook that up. So if you want to, you can run from your phone, from a tablet, or from a web browser. You can monitor everything that way. You can pretty much do everything you can do from the virtual desktop, but let's say I'm now running with 3 different PCs running 3 different scopes, and I tend to just keep my virtual desktops open. I use the Google Remote Desktop software, so I will more often than not just switch to those. But a lot of people like the web dashboard, and that's available too. One thing I do use the web dashboard for is the framing wizard. So Voyager has something called RoboClip, which is a database of your targets, of your both current and future targets. And with the framing wizard, you can very nicely and easily find an object. It'll download a DSS picture. It'll set up a field of view indicator based on the scope that it's connected to and your current profile. And then you can manipulate to get the right framing that you want for your image. The same framing wizard, and I should say, and then you can save those coordinates in RoboClip, which you can then use later in Voyager. The same framing wizard also will handle mosaics, which I think it's sort of self-explanatory here.
Yep.
And there's a companion product. So if you have a lot of devices, sensors, relays, switches that you need to control, There's a companion software product called Viking, which you can use to control and monitor your external devices. And then this integrates nicely with Voyager. And Voyager is also, Leo's done some work for professional observatories that has created some really nice optional features. And one of those is the array system. So if you have a single mount with multiple optical tubes, you can do that with Voyager with a single or multiple PCs. So this is going to make sure that if your one tube is in the middle of taking a shot, one scope, it's not going to start dithering the mount because another one's ready to dither. So it's going to synchronize all the operations around, particularly autofocus, meridian flip, and dithering between all the different scopes. Here's the early adopter of that array system. This is the Master Darks Observatory in Thailand.
Wow.
So I mentioned before about the suspend, resume, and exit. So this is a really nice feature if you like to run unattended and you have something to monitor the weather. They say it'll skip ahead if the target you were shooting is no longer available, and you really have complete control over what actions you want to take when you get a weather suspend event. This is set up in the drag script. So typically you're going to park your scopes, check perhaps sensors to make sure the scopes really are parked before you move the dome or the roof, and perhaps send you notifications. In my case, I'm comfortable enough with it now that it just parks the scope, suspends operation, and it doesn't even notify me because I don't want to wake up. Another recent feature is if you happen to have multiple peers in a single observatory, there's a distributed emergency system. So this allows one Viking and Voyager instance to basically coordinate all the weather, safety, and emergency events and notify your other instances of Voyager, so that you don't have one fighting the other to close or open the roof.
Nice.
And one of the things that most users of Voyager probably never even realize is there's a lot of AI automata built into the software, and things like autofocus and guiding and estimates of sequence time and many other things are analyzed and improved with time as you use Voyager more. So I'll show you a couple of really short videos on autofocus, since it's cloudy here tonight, so I can't show you the real thing working. There's both a single star and a multi-star version, and the single star is going to optimize for the center of your field. I mean, if your field is perfectly flat, it shouldn't matter, but rarely is that the case. So if you're photographing a galaxy or some small object that tends to be in the center, you use the single star. If you're imaging something like a nebula where you want to have better focus across the frame, then the multi-star is a good choice. There's also a first light wizard, and you run this as part of setting up a new optical configuration, new imaging configuration, and it'll create your initial V-curve. Once that V-curve is created, if you don't change anything about the imaging setup, you don't have to do it again. It'll just focus. So, what does that look like? So adding a V-curve, it's found a star. The little graph at the top is the kind of the brightness of that star as it moves the focuser. And then on the bottom, you see it plotting the points of the HFD of the star versus the focuser position. And then it shoots the linear curves and takes the measurements, and that's it. And typically, because of seeing variations, you probably want to do this 2, 3, 4 times at the very, and again, this is just something you do one time, not every night. So you do this at the beginning, and it'll take the average of all those V curves, and then that's really going to work for you for your real focus. So here's a short video of what the single star autofocus looks like. And if you've got a suitable star in the field, you don't have to move the scope. If there's not one, it has a database of focus stars, or you can specify the focus stars it should use. So very similar concept. It's going to take a picture of the star and measure the HFD as it moves the focuser. And then based on the V-curve statistics, it knows how far to move the focuser to get to your critical focus zone. The whole thing typically takes 30 to 60 seconds. I guess I stopped my video just a tad before the end there. So it's so fast that I'll just focus on every filter change. You're very, very rarely do I have an out of focus frame. Everything is really nicely, tightly focused.
Nice.
Local field. So it's got a sort of a topo map of HFDs across the field. So the redder it is, the bigger the HFD. And so you're trying to, it's basically looking at all the stars across the field, plotting them, and trying to get to the best average HFD across the field, the lowest. And that's when things are going to be the most blue.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So it's almost done here. There. So then it's done. It's decided this is the overall best position for the focuser, and you're done. And this one again, you rarely would you have to move the scope. You're just going to take this. You're going to do this focusing right where you are.
Now, Roland, what might that one, if you go back to that first, like the right where it ended, where it picked the where it picked the most, what might that little like yellow orange area kind of indicate then?
Yeah, so there's some object there that's coming out as a little bigger. It's probably not an optical defect. It's most likely something star-like that is a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And that's the size of it.
Got it.
And that's it. So for the end of the slides, I'll now bring up Voyager, and we'll take a look at the setup. I can show you with the on the fly what it's like to actually just do some things with pushing buttons. We'll take a look at the web dashboard. We'll look at plate solving, taking a single shot, doing a sequence, running flats. You can see it all here. And then if we have time, we'll do a sneak peek at advanced. Oh, there you got a sneak peek.
Listen, if you know anything about the show, you always have time. So this show just goes on and on and on. Sometimes
it goes on till either everybody drops out or my voice is gone.
Yeah, I hear that.
All right. Okay, so here we are in Voyager, and let's take a look at the setup screen. So again, you remember that earlier slide, one of the things that impressed me the most about Voyager was how broad an array of options you have for equipment and software that it supports. So, for cameras, you can use the SkyX, which I'm using today because it's the simulator. I have some ASI cameras, so I use the ASI native driver, which does allow you to set things like gain and offset on the fly, which I find handy because I use different gains for narrowband and broadband. You see the list here. There's some of the more popular high-end cameras supported. Maxim itself, which supports pretty much everything under the sun. And in terms of mounts there, the SkyX and ASCOM are the most popular ones. And then if you're running the optional Voyager array system, you might want to have one of your scopes be the array virtual mount. Got to make sure I don't change my settings here or my demo is not going to work. Unfortunately, I can't demo guiding. I typically use PhD. The planetarium. So I've had some people say, well, why on earth would I want to run a planetarium? And the reason is if you want to do lookups. So you want to look up a target by name. You
Mhm.
don't have to do it this way, but it's nice to have. So you can see the list of planetariums that are supported there. I'm assuming that the fonts are okay. People can actually read this stuff. Is that true?
I'm looking on.
Yeah, I
YouTube.
can.
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cartesio. Yeah, Northern Sky. Yeah, I can read it.
Cool. Yeah, because I set it up for the 1080 HD, but you never
Yep.
know.
No.
And then plate solving. I think the SkyX has a fantastic plate solver. It usually solves everything, sometimes under a second. But again, you got a wide variety of options here. ASTAP is coming on strong as a really nice free option.
Yep.
People are very happy with that.
Yeah, it's super fast.
Yep. And
Now,
then the autofocus. Go ahead.
Now, really quick, with the plate solving, and help me understand this a little bit. As
Yep.
Are these plate solving softwares? Are these things that you would download and install into Voyager, or are these some of these already pre-installed into the software itself?
These are all things you would download separately. So Voyager will integrate with any of these. You set them up, and Voyager will start them running, and it will talk to them.
Okay. Great.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
none of these are bundled.
Okay.
Again, autofocus, as I said before, I can't think of anybody using Voyager who's not using Voyager's own autofocus. It's that good, but it does support, some of the other popular options. Rotator support has been added in the last year or so. I don't have one demoed here, but ASCOM and ARCOS are supported. Flat devices. I do have an Alnitak on one of my scopes, but also I use, as I said, sky flats. I've been very happy with. Dome choices, ASCOM. I'm just using ASCOM drivers for my roll-off roof, and I have a Lunatico AAG Dragonfly for my controller, which just has ASCOM interfaces.
Okay.
Weather devices, I use the AAG Cloud Watcher, but it also supports Boltwood and compatibles. If you have an observing condition, so you might want to make decisions in your drag script on what to image based on current conditions. Same for SQM if you have an SQM sensor. And then some people have separate safety switches, separate devices in the observatory for safety. I'm just using the stuff built into the AAG Cloud Watcher with my setup. And then if you have a Viking, as I say, that'll also provide pretty much interfaces to anything, any relay, sensor, switch. And it's just some setups that are specific to Voyager, like if you have how you want to have your file names set up. And some of the remote services, so the web dashboard you can turn on or turn off here. And then there's a few common things, whether you want to have the web server started up automatically. Voyager has an application server built in. So again, this is one of those behind the curtains things, but it means very much of what you can do with Voyager is also accessible through an API. So there's a extensive API document on the wiki. And if you're a developer and you want to talk to it through TCP, you can.
Cool.
So that's the setup. Let's see if we can connect. So I said, this is again a local instance of the Sky running on my my PC here, and I just set up some of the basic simulators so I can demonstrate a few things. So let's see. That's the Sky's camera image. There's the Sky. Okay. So if we zoom out on the Sky, there's my virtual telescope. It's currently pointing up here. We'll go back to Voyager. So as I said before, there's an on-the-fly where you can kind of push buttons and do lots of things. I'll just give you a quick overview of the screen here. Drag script is where you can load and run a script. You can bring up an editor to edit your drag script or create them. And I'll get into this where you can run mosaics, or if you are doing things like looking for exoplanets, you can set up a whole number of targets and run through them. And then there's the beta robo target. There's also profile management, so you can set up as many profiles as you want for different imaging setups. And there are some tools, so on the fly, while Voyager is busy imaging, you can still bring up a sequence editor or a flat sequence editor and make some changes. If you had multiple instances, you can start them from here, so you can actually run more than one instance of Voyager on a single PC. So that's enough of that. And then over here on the side, there are two important sort of status and control panels. So this one gives the current position of the scope, where the mount is pointing, some of the operations going on. If we were doing autofocus, you would see some progress here. My camera, my virtual camera, is at -10 degrees, just where I told it to be. There's a little ephemeris for your current target. And this will keep track of your sequence as it's running. And then there's a command panel where you can manually do things like move the focuser, change the camera's cooling, and so forth, park your scope. And these are configurable. You can have as many things, visible here as you actually care about and use. All right, so that's oh, well, I missed this big green thing down here. So this is your running dialogue of what's going on inside of Voyager. And this is also saved in log files. So this is the on-the-fly panel. So from here, let's just kind of take it from the top. Let's see what's up right now. I'll get into the sky, do a look up. Yeah, it's still visible, but let's see. I was testing it out this afternoon, and there was a sharpless object that was still visible. Let's see, what's this guy? SH2-290. All right, well, that'll force our virtual scope to move. So, and sharpless objects are always fun to put into catalogs because everybody uses the hyphens in different places. All right, so that was 290. So again, this is one of the reasons why it's nice to have a planetarium attached. I put in the name of the target, click fast find, and it loads the coordinates here. If I don't have a planetarium, you can also, if you are connected to the internet, you can do an online search. And so once again, it's like Sesame is saying, "Oh, I don't like that syntax for SH229."
Yeah.
This gives you a little bit more detail coming from the planetarium, in case you're interested. There's the ephemeris, so I can see the rise time, the transit, and the setting time. And then if I have targets in my RoboClip database, I can pull from this little button here as well, or I can add this new target to the RoboClip. So let's try a go to. So I click go to, and whoop, there we go. You can see the little yellow guy moving. So that's
there you go. Whoop.
Virtual mount went right to the right spot. Hooray. Let's take a picture of it.
It went fast too.
Yeah. Tell you, those virtual mounts.
Telling you, wonderful.
I'm gonna replace mine. So if you just want to take a shot with where you currently are, all these little gear icons are kind of the configuration for the buttons. So I'm using my luminosity filter, and we'll just, it doesn't matter. It's a 1 second exposure because it's just faking it. And down here now I can see it's taken the exposure, it finished, it downloaded, and it saved the fit file. And then, yep, there it is. So that's the DSS that the SkyX, downloaded for me. And if we look, since it's really a JPEG, it's not a raw image, so it's not going to stretch as nicely as a real, raw image would. But this is the Voyager fit viewer that also got populated. All right.
Right.
So we moved and we took a picture. That's good. if let's say we move the scope, I'm going to go off script here.
That's okay.
Let's say we want to go to near the zenith, which is handy in my drag scripts at the start of the night. I will often, I will include go to near zenith and then do a blind solve just to kind of get your scope properly synced up. And we can say, let's go ahead and let's try to plate solve where we currently are. So it's going to call the SkyX. It's going to take one of those pictures. And like I said, it's fast. So in under a second, it solved it. And so now we know the scope is really pointed there. If you thought you might be pretty far off, you could use blind solve, which will search the whole sky.
Got it.
And if we want to have precise pointing, so I could, let's pick another target. Boy, can I spell that? Precipua. Let's see. I said I wanted to go to Precipua. Precipua. And do a fast find. And then we want to do precise pointing to the target coordinates. So it's going to move the scope. So we can see it slewing. There it is. Then it's going to wait for my virtual scope to settle. It's going to take a picture. It's going to plate solve it. It solved it. And it's going to sync it. And there we go. So that's what precise pointing looks like with plate solving and any adjustments made. So since this is all simulated, it was exactly right.
So basically what it would do is it would take a picture, and if it's a little bit off, it would take another picture and resolve it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, within your setup, you could say, I want to be within 50 arc seconds, or I want to be within 2 arc seconds. Good luck.
Yeah. Well,
and
might be there a while.
Yeah. And then, how many retries you wanted to allow it to make until you just say that's good enough.
Cool.
So these are some of the things that you could be doing just from the on-the-fly menu. Sequence-wise, most people are going to set up a sequence. So this is where you would say, with each filter, I want to take exposures of a certain length, and I want to take a certain number of repeats. Here I've got a sequence set up with LRGB filters. And as you can see here, I've got a little guide here that shows me that's going to be taking all the clear, all the red, all the green, all the blue. Down here are tabs that allow me to set up things that will happen before and during the sequence to control for each sequence. And if I group by the slot, that means take all this number of pictures with one filter before moving on to the next one. If I was at a dark site, for one night only, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't get only half of my filters done, I could say, well, just keep rotating through these different filters. So then you'd get something like that instead.
Yeah.
And you can say how many times you want to repeat it. So,
so you could do like 3 luminance, 3 red, 3 green, 3 blue, and then rotate
and then
that.
go back around. Exactly.
Yeah.
And during this, does it have a setting where, and I'm assuming it has a setting when it's flipping through the different filters? Say if you're doing a sequence of, say, 5 of luminance and 5 RGBs of each one, that at the end of each filter, it'll do a refocus.
Yeah. So if you look at the focus tab, these are all the ways you can control your focus. So you can say whether you want to use the actual filter, which I always do.
Mm-hmm.
You can say trigger my focus only when the slot changes, or so many exposures, so many minutes, changes in temperature, or changes in target altitude.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. So that's the sequence. You can also, use a Voyager standard file pattern, or you can use a file pattern that you set up before. You can set up a series of constraints for, how high you're willing to, or how low in the sky you're willing to go to exit the sequence. hour angle is an interesting choice because you say, well, I want to only get good data, and for each particular target, that's plus or minus half an hour, 2 hours, whatever your tolerance is of the transit point.
Mm-hmm.
You can run programs or scripts before and after the sequence runs. Your cooling of your camera. You can say what you want to do if there are pointing errors, how many times to retry. If you have a rotator, you can set that up. Plate solving, you can disable it if for some reason you want to. I just have Voyager manage my meridian flips. I know, like I said, that works great. Guiding, you can either use, so like PhD2 will pick a guide star if you let it.
Yep.
But you could also have Voyager pick the guide star for you. And from here, you can set the time that you want to use for your guiding and your calibration exposures. Or you can set this to 0 and it'll let the guiding software pick. And you have dithering options. So for example, if you're running unguided, you still might want to do dithering here. And we went through a little bit about the focus. Low precision pointing. So you might say, hey, if you're pointing to the focus star, don't waste time doing an exact focus. Just get it in the field. And then you have some things you can decide to do on an error condition or at the very end. So that's a sequence that we set up. Let's see. Now I should probably set this up to my, what was this, 290 that I was doing before, I think.
So let me ask this.
Yeah.
How, overall, what would your opinion be on someone who is getting started with astrophotography and is looking for software such as Voyager? Would you recommend this for those types of beginners, or is this more for maybe an intermediate level?
You know, it sounds like a leading question.
Okay. Okay.
Eric, sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess any software that can do everything it can do is going to be a little intimidating if you try to swallow it whole. I think, I have on the wiki, there is a quick start section that I wrote a long time ago.
Okay.
That kind of takes you through, just get this working. Now get that working. Get your camera connected, take a picture, get your mount connected, get it to slew. You don't have to worry about plate solving on night 1. If you're someone that's been imaging for years and you know all that stuff, then I think most of this is going to be somewhat intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end of the spectrum, once you get all this stuff set up, I mean, literally, since I wrote my own scheduler a year and a half ago, before Leo finished his. So I was literally just loading targets into the database and pushing go on my script and never touching anything. So once you get it all working, you really just don't deal with any of this. I actually had to refresh my memory because I hadn't looked at this stuff in so long. So I could save this as... So yeah, I mean, there are simpler products that you can use to get started. There are certainly free products that you could use to get started. But I think there is a learning path for this or any similar capacity software that kind of takes you step by step.
Sure. So like I say, a person who may be a little bit familiar with, say, SGP or anyone like that, or even maybe Nina, they wouldn't have too much trouble, following along with this.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing EAA with an ATIC Infinity. That got old really quick. Then I swapped to SGP, worked with that for a while, got into ACP. I literally have tried everything: CCD Autopilot, CCD Commander. I'm not going to list them all.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I found Voyager pretty intuitive. I mean, at the end of the day, they all do a lot of the same things, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So So now we've, excuse me, got this loaded as a sequence. If I want to run it, it's now moving the mount to that position. It's going to do the precise pointing, synchronize, and then it's going to start taking exposures. So here we're taking our first exposure. To keep this thing moving, I just did 1 second exposures. And then over here, now we can see the sequence progress. The time we started, it's got 30 seconds remaining. The green bar is the sequence progress, and the red bars are the current shot.
Sure.
And over in my viewer, I'm getting these JPEGs being stretched. But you know, as it downloaded the pictures, they'd be showing up in the viewer. I think it's almost done. Well, let's stop here. Here we go. So that's what a sequence looks like. You also have an option here where you can run. You can say you want to do a normal start or just precise point and start the shots, and then you can do manual overrides for things that you may or may not want to do. Then there's a similar looking dialog for flats. So if I load one up here, oops, I'm just taking the save. Here's a typical sky flat setup. So I have a minimum and a maximum exposure time, an initial, and a target ADU. And it's going to go between these times here until it hits to that ADU within my 5% error. Now, the way I typically would set these up, I'd have a much broader error target. So I might say I'm willing to go 30% plus or minus of 32,768 since I'm taking sky flats. And I'd put a much closer tolerance on my exposure times. So then I'll end up getting, you know, flats that are all about the same exposure time. And that is most of that. Let's take a quick look at the research and survey or mosaic. So if I set up a mosaic with the web dashboard, I could load it in here. Like this is a Rho Ophiuchi Nebula mosaic. And it will cycle through these targets. And if you look at the settings, it looks a lot like the sequence. So you have almost all the same options that you had for a sequence for a single target, but now you specified multiple targets.
Sure.
And, you know, if I had my mosaic set up in my RoboClip virtual field of view, I could import them here. And if you were doing things like exoplanet searches, you know, you could also do this to set up all your search targets and take your shots over and over again as you need to during the night. You can import targets from CSVs. There's imports supported from the Telescopius and several other planner software.
Nice.
So that's research and survey. And let's take a quick look at the dreaded and powerful drag script. So a lot of people
somebody was saying that this is one of the most powerful things in Voyager, but it probably would take an entire night to go over the whole thing. So
yeah, so I'll spare you. But let's open the editor and let's get brave here and try to build a script to see how hard it really is. I'll do the reset. So, okay, I've got a blank canvas right now. Over on the side here, I've got all the different actions that I could do within Voyager, you know, pretty self-explanatory, everything from connecting my setup to running a script. And now I have RoboTarget, you know, plate solving and so on and so forth. So let's say we wanted to, just go to near the zenith, do our start of the night thing. I just drag over here and drop. Now I'm going to go to near the zenith and do a blind solve. And boom, I just wrote a script.
So nice. All right.
So it's, once you get over the basics, it's really not that intimidating. So I actually did one of these earlier, I guess, but blinds, should actually be go to and blind solve. So let's do that one. Now we save it, go back over here, we load it, and we run it. And now, it's doing the go to near zenith, and then it will do a blind solve when it gets there. And it worked.
Nice. This is quite impressive.
So on the other end of the spectrum, let's see, we'll go back to the editor. Look at something slightly bigger here, like a loop exposure. So here's a little script that takes an exposure, waits a second, and then repeats, and it does this 200 times. You can do similar things like this for, if you want to build scripts that'll do your dark library for you. That might be a good use of something that simple. There's an example of an all-night script here. So now we jump ahead to something much more complete. But this is an example of automating from startup to shutdown. Where you would literally fire up Voyager, load this script, press run, and if you got it all working right, you're done. And so he's got waits until astronomical night, connect your setup. If everything's okay, go ahead to this block and do the initial stuff. If it's not okay, it's going to wait and then repeat. So it's going to try 3 times to do your connection for your setup, which if you get PhD 2, a lot of times it'll say, hey, there's a new release out there. And it won't connect in the allowed time. So this will catch that. I'm going to open my flat device cover because nothing sucks more than taking pictures of your flat panel all night. Got the cool down here, and then I'm going to wait till night. Again, for each of these things that are more complicated than what I showed you before, which was just didn't have any options. So wait until night. If I double click something here, I get a little dialog box, and I can say, hey, get the latitude and longitude from the mount, but it has to be connected. Well, if it's not connected, I can specify my latitude and longitude, and it'll still wait until night. If I want to wait till 30 minutes before night and then keep running, I can do that. So you can see, everything is drag and drop and then double click and set your options. So here, at the beginning of the night, we do a blind solve and sync. And all the things that it's actually doing are just a couple of commands. And then the rest of this is really just handling, well, what if it doesn't work?
Right.
Should I be notified? Should I wait and try again? Some comments. You can repeat a block over and over. So this will say, hey, keep repeating until 6 a.m. It's got a calibrate your guider. And then this is a set of running sequences. So for each sequence, I can say, when should I start it? When should I stop it? Do I want to override some of the constraints that you saw before were set up in the sequence, like, what altitude value you want to be the minimum that it'll run. You can even get fancy and do almost and Leo's said he's been doing this for years. You can almost emulate a scheduler by creating a sequence block for all the targets you'd like to get, having the constraints say, only image them plus or minus 1 hour from their transit.
Mm-hmm.
And then just keep rotating through that loop. And, it's really kind of a basic scheduler.
Wow.
And then here's the secret sauce down here about handling clouds. So we have a suspend event. So if my cloud watcher says, it's just, it's getting to be too cloudy, there's a place in Voyager where you say, these are the conditions that trigger a suspend. And all that does is it just jumps control. It stops what it's doing, jumps to this part of your script, and, park the scope, close the roof.
Nice.
And that's it. And then it's going to sit here and wait. And I'm saying, yeah, go ahead and wait all the way till 8 in the morning. And when it says it's no longer a suspend condition on resume, so this says if you go past 8 o'clock, just go to the emergency exit. Otherwise, if conditions are good again, go to the resume. And the resume would unpark the scope and start tracking and just return control to wherever you were in your script when it was running. So again, since I had, if you have these set up to only run at a certain time, like this one's run from 2 to 2:30. If it's past 2:30, it's going to jump ahead and try the next one. So
cool.
That's startup to shutdown. And again, you can pretty much decide anything you want to do. I tend to say this is an automated sequencer, a drag and drop automated sequencer, as opposed to something scary like you got to now start learning how to program in C.
Right.
Yeah, I will not be doing that.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to Eric.
Yeah, free me from knowledge.
Not even me.
So that's Voyager in a nutshell. There's obviously a lot of depth there, and as the question said, is this for a beginner? I wouldn't throw this at somebody with no experience and say have at it. But there are, as I say, there are resources that could say here's where to start.
Sure.
Yeah, but if a lot of people like we do have a mix of people on the show that have some experience to no experience. And for those of them that I've been watching the chat, a lot of them are mentioning the similarity between the advanced sequencer in Nina to the script, to the drag script in Voyager. They're a little bit similar. They do kind of like you said before, Roland. The bottom line is a lot of these things do the same things. It's all a matter on how each handles it and how fast it goes.
Yeah.
So,
and see, like someone like me who's like an ASI Air user, even though I have a little bit of experience with SGP and with APT, I think I could still, since I've been around for doing this for a few years, I'm sure I can still figure all this out,
Yeah.
So it'll just like you say, that I was just actually looking that there's a really nice looking wiki here. And forums. So I think for a new person, not a newbie, but say a person that's kind of new to Voyager, but have used other pieces of software similar, I think they can be able to get through this, and get familiar with it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So here's the quick start in the wiki. So we got videos, the tutorial. How to set up a minimal profile, choose a target, define a sequence, and run it. And so you can even do it with simulators that come with ASCOM. So somebody could download the trial of Voyager, go through these steps, and it kind of leads you by the hand, tells you what to do, and see what it's like to just set up a profile, define a target, define a sequence, and take some pictures.
Yeah. And that's really nice to have.
Go from here.
Yeah, like I said, when I was playing with it with my scope in the house, I was able to get this thing up and running in no time. Yeah. And it was really, if you have any sort of background to either Nina or SGP, you're not going to have any problems with Voyager.
Yeah.
So I can take questions. We could take a look at RoboTarget. Your call.
Let me go through. People were asking about Voyager and PhD2. Does it have its own guiding routine? And I think you touched on that already.
Yeah, it does not have any built-in guiding. It will use PhD2 or a bunch of other options. Guiding.
Let's see. A lot of people talking about drag script and how
Yeah,
powerful
drag
it is.
script and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there is a couple of mentions about the RoboFire.
Yep.
And it looks like Bill Long had a couple of comments on it. Mark Ellis too. Will that RoboFocus determine the step size of your focuser, or do you have to input them beforehand?
So let me see. Where did focus go here? There, autofocus. It actually, the First Light Wizard does a pretty good job of trying to find the good step size, but you can set it. You can set everything here if it's not successful. I'd say 70 to 80% of the time, the defaults will work with almost any focuser. If not, you can look at what's happening and figure out what you need to change. If you run the First Light Wizard, it will tell you, here's what you should do before running it. So, get close to good focus, set the in and out limits, and initialize the driver step count to the midpoint. But it does, it's not dumb. I mean, it will go in, it'll see what kind of results it's getting, and it'll vary the step size. But sometimes with some focusers, it's just so far out of what it's trying that you really have to give it a manual starting point.
Yeah, just like with any autofocuser, you really should have a decent coarse focus to kind of get that nice V curve, or else you're going to be so far outside of focus you may never get in. So,
yeah, if it can't find the star, it can't measure
it. Yeah. So I know so many people that are, oh man, I see nothing. I said, well, did you, the people that are putting on any sort of focuser, whether you're talking an EAF from ZWO or a Moonlight, it doesn't matter. You want to get it inside that focus. You got to kind of be inside that V curve, because like you said, Roland, if you're so outside of focus and it keeps on traveling in or out, whichever way they're going, it's not going to see a darn thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
George Lutz said Voyager works great with Optec and night crawlers.
Yep.
Mark Ellis asked, how about setting up the focuser in the autofocus?
What's the question?
I don't know. How does I guess if there's any stuff in the background that you have to set up before you start that first light, or you just let the first light go and run, I guess.
Yeah. So obviously you have to have the correct focuser chosen. And then, as I say, this First Light Wizard, I think, is the answer to your question. It tells you the prerequisites before you click OK.
Sure.
So it's, we can go through them. You want to make sure that you have a repeatable focuser. If you've got a focuser that doesn't know where its step is, and it doesn't have a stepper motor, so you tell it to move to position 100 one time, it's one place, and next time it's a different place. That's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So you basically want the focuser in the middle of its travel. You want to have it have a suitable focus star in view. You want to tell Voyager what the minimum and maximum limits are on your focuser, so it doesn't try to drive past them. You might need backlash compensation, and then do a manual focus so you're close enough that basically when Voyager starts moving your focuser, the star doesn't disappear. That's really it. And that's the one place where your step size could be a problem. If your focuser has move a very small amount and the HFD of the star triples.
Mm-hmm.
Then it might just move and say, wait a minute, there's no star anymore.
Right.
Yep.
So, But by and large, compared to everything else I've used, this was the least painful to get going. And again, once you get the V curves set, it's set and forget.
Nice.
That's great.
Oh, this is really, really nice.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's definitely it's pretty user friendly. I love the drag script stuff. I think that's great where you can be so specific with it.
Sure.
Yep. So yeah, and one thing to mention, and it's on the website. I guess I'll go back to my PowerPoint for a second here. Just make sure we get this recorded here. There are quite a few good resources. There's a 45-day free trial of Voyager available if you want to try before you buy. And this is the actual product website, the wiki I just showed you, the user forum. We've got a list of videos. And then I have been doing blog posts about Voyager Advanced. So that's on my my poor neglected Astro site.
You actually got it.
Say AstroBin killed my desire to do my own Astro site.
Ernie Jacobs had a question. Said, "Did I hear correctly? It will synchronize 2 scopes on the same mount, but using 2 computers."
Yes, you can run with 2 computers, or you can run it on 1 computer. But that's the advantage of the application server architecture under the hood, is that these different instances of Voyager are communicating through the application server.
Captain 404 asked about remote observatory control. Did I miss it? I had to step away.
So, I mean, I'm using this, and it's 100 yards from me remote.
but it does work remote. If you're 100 or 1,000.
Yeah, everything I'm doing is on is off-site essentially from where I'm controlling it. But yeah, like Leo's working with a group of people that have a setup in Chile. So if there's no other questions, we can either call it a night. I could come back and talk about RoboTarget maybe after it ships.
Yeah, we could definitely hook up another night as well. Definitely, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see. I don't see any questions right now. But a lot of people seem that they're very impressed with the software. But no questions I can tell, Dan.
Okay.
No, yeah, just Mark Ellis just threw another one up there. Cool. It sounds like I could have a dual setup on my mount and it will control both scopes on the Eagle. So basically you could have 2 instances of Voyager running on the Eagle if you wanted to, correct?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I don't think, does the Eagle run Windows?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then it should work.
Yep. So you can run 2 instances of Voyager and on the same mount. Basically what you're going to be doing is, correct me if I'm wrong, is you'll just have 1 instance of the mount and the guider and the camera and the scope and a focuser, and on the other instances you would just be running the scope.
Yeah, the scope and the camera on the other.
Yeah, the scope, the camera, the focuser, and if you had a rotator. So you're not going to be running the mount on 2 different instances. You're just gonna have the 1 instance if you go on side by side or piggyback, and then you'll have the other one running just the other scope, camera, focuser.
Yeah, there's essentially master slave.
Yeah,
setup
exactly.
For that. Yeah.
Pete, I think you muted. Let's see, Mr. Pete. Hold on, let me see if I can get you. There you go. Go ahead, Pete. Nope, still muted. I was wondering why you were so quiet.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Yeah, you're going in and out of mute. Check your microphone, make sure it's plugged in. Nothing yet.
Bill Long mentioned something, the array version.
Yeah, that's essentially what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The multiple Voyager or multiple OTAs controlled
Gotcha.
and synchronized. Yeah.
And
Just waiting for Pete to come back in, maybe.
yeah, I was looking also here on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about what is this, the Viking? Do you have any information on that? Exactly what that is?
Yeah. So Viking is the companion software, optional software, which I don't have it. I do not have it installed on my desktop here, but it's an intermediary between relays, sensors. Kind of the random things people that would have. For an example, you might have a sensor to tell you whether your scope is parked or not, because you don't want, in some cases, you don't want to move the roof unless the scope is parked. Okay. So Viking would connect to that. You might use a magnetic switch that tells you when the scope is in a certain position, and Viking would read that and then feed that information into Voyager, where typically you'd be checking in your drag script. So you'd have a Viking connection, Viking command in your drag script that would check before closing the roof.
Okay, gotcha. So basically, okay, so this is, okay, so all right, so yeah, this is observatory control. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
Trying to see, there's a, yeah, so on the wiki, there's an example here of all the things you can do with Viking.
Okay.
So it'll talks to all kinds of relays, power switches, even the Dragonfly controller from Lunatico, LAN controllers. So you might also have use Viking to power up things, or power them down. And I've just got everything on one web power switch, which, knock on wood, typically things seem to all connect, but every once in a while I hear people that say, well, if I don't power on first the camera, then this thing, then the other thing, USB goes crazy and doesn't connect. So this would give you the ability, if you had your power that way, to power things on and off individually.
Gotcha.
Nice.
George Lush is asking, when will you do videos on Voyager Advance?
I'm going to wait till the release, because Leo's still adding some things. So it's like most software. When it's done, it's done. I've been running it since January. It's stable as a rock. Leo's adding some statistics and reporting capabilities. And of course, with any beta test, you get lots of great ideas from your beta testers. Like, oh, what if it could do this? Or, gee, I'm glad that you have 20 different constraints, but have you thought of these 10 more possible constraints we could add? So, we're walking that tightrope to getting it done and out there. So I figure I'll let the dust settle on 1.0, and then we'll do videos.
Sure.
Roland.
Yeah, there we go. Pizza. Yeah, there you go.
Roland, can you show us the dashboard for the members?
The web dashboard?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. That's right. For some reason, I decided to set up a password. I never use it on the real machines. I think I was just testing. All right. So here's the web dashboard. Can you see that? Yeah, it looks like it. So I just picked a machine and connected to it. And obviously it's the machine that we've just been demoing on, so it's not really doing much. It shows me, here's the profile that is selected. Currently, well, it also, since we just connected, it's not going to have any information because it won't go into the past. In other words, if I did something new in Voyager, like, well, let's see, We go back to on the fly, do our favorite go to near zenith. Then maybe we'll get something actually show. So up here now it says telescope is going to near the zenith.
Okay.
And we could do our lookup for a target. So we could say, do a find. So there it found the target. Here's all the information about the target. And we could say, do a precision go to. And now it's doing the precise pointing for my SH2 290 target, which will take a little bit of time. If I scroll down, there's actually a, and you can move these windows around, but you can see here the event log as it's doing the precise pointing when the action end okay. So it finished. Telling me about my current mount status. I've got all my controls here for the mount, for parking and so forth. Here's my virtual field of view. So look something up. It'll download it from DSS. I say, oh, that looks great, or I can move it around to wherever I want it. If I've got a rotator attached, I can play with the position angle, which I don't have. So, but I could do that. Once I'm satisfied, I can then add it to RoboClip. So I can say, go ahead and get the data from the virtual field of view. It's M13. I can add notes. I can put it in a group in my RoboClip database, so I don't have everything all in one spot. And I can save it.
Yep.
That's it. So now it's in the database, and now I can pretty much use it from anywhere that I can choose a target inside of Voyager. I could take a shot from my camera. Again, unfortunately, since we're doing JPEGs, it's not going to look very great here. This is like my progress of a sequence, so single shot and the whole sequence. Camera cooler. What's going on with auto guiding? Not much, but normally that would be kind of your typical graph that you see of variance and movements of the mount. Some statistics for HFD on the images that it's taken. All my focuser ability here, I can inject a focus. So if I'm watching it and I go, focus doesn't look great, something's changed, I can just go ahead and inject a focus, and whatever it's doing, it'll at the next appropriate time, it will do an autofocus run. And the log. And I can also do things like get all my drag scripts list. So here's the one we just built before. I could select that, and then I could run it from here. Same thing with sequences. I get a list of my sequences. There's my SH2 290, and I could start it from here, and it would run the sequence.
Nice.
So pretty much everything you want to do, can be done from the web dashboard.
Yep.
So in terms of remote, I mean, your choice. You could, if your remote system was accessible, you could set it up this way and run the dashboard, or you could just VNC into the desktop and run it that way.
Nice. That's neat.
We have another one, Captain 404 is asking, are there any collimation aids or tilt or flat field checks?
No.
Okay.
Other than, well, it's not really, but that local field will give you some sense, but it's not really its intention.
Okay.
It's really more for imaging, and although doesn't have to be used for unattended imaging, the design point was, let's make this thing as bulletproof as humanly possible so that you can run unattended and make sure you're getting good data.
Okay. And when you were showing the field of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, so if you took a snapshot, would it give you the angle of how the field of view currently is? So if you had a camera or a field rotator, you can go to it and adjust your field rotator?
Yes. So that's actually something that's built into Voyager here. There's a rotation aid. So I can get the current position angle based on the last solve and then a target. And then I can go ahead and and I don't have a simulator. I don't have a rotator simulator attached,
Mhm.
but you could take another. You could move it manually, take another shot, see if how close you were getting.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And where's that command once again, Roland?
What's the what?
Oh, that command to bring up that compass.
Oh, right here. This is on the fly camera manual rotation aid.
Okay.
That would be really, really handy. That's really, really handy.
Yep. That's very, very powerful.
Yes,
Really
it
is.
is.
It's got a lot of stuff.
It's got a lot of stuff, just like George Carlin. Wow.
No,
All
it's
right.
really, really cool. I really like it.
It's even got a good night command. What's the good night command?
What's that?
What's the good night command?
The good night command.
That's if you have a set of things defined that you want to run at the end of the night, like parking them out and warming up your camera and so forth.
It's like a end of sequence routine.
Configurable. So I could run a program or a script before and after, move the filter. So and basically in the drag, you could have a specific drag script you built just for good night.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
You want to build, or you can do these check the box for the most common things.
Sure.
Close your flat device, park your scope, warm up the camera.
Yep. They've thought of everything.
Yeah, really. This is really, really impressive.
Yeah, Leo's, he is an astrophotographer, so he's not just a developer who said, "Oh, this sounds like an interesting area to go, play around in."
Mm-hmm.
And he's an award-winning astrophotographer, so this is based on what he felt was needed for that, and so that's why it's so complete.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate him putting in all this kind of work because
this
is really, really something. And I'll be honest with you, Dan. I tell you, this is actually making me think about, moving the ASI Air for a little bit, just so I can do the 45-day trial, just so I can start working with this.
Oh my!
Very, very well. It is. I think honestly, it's very, very well thought out. It is.
And that's just about the same time where I just built up my Red Cat ASI Air EAF setup. I've always been a CCD user for a really, really, really long time. So me and Pete always laugh about Images Plus and some of the older programs that were out there before. For those really older people that got into guiding, the guide dog program where you just heard the barking of the dog whenever it lost a guide star. But there was a bunch of stuff out there, and I stepped away from astrophotography for a little bit, and then I jumped back in and I got into SGP. Right. And once I went to SGP, and then I got to be friends through AstroWorld. I got to be friends with Sean Nielsen, and Sean Nielsen kept on hitting me in the head saying, "You got to try Nina. You got to try Nina. You got to try Nina." And then I met Pete, and now Pete's telling me, "You got to try Voyager. You got to try Voyager. You got to try Voyager." So hey, I just hope that I get a clear night out there. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, that I could actually try this in the field, because I've tried it in a static environment and it's great. No problems connecting, no problems with dropping signals, no problems with anything. It slews the scope, it saw everything. Obviously, there's the same amount of work that you got to do with any other program like this. You got to have the right ASCOM drivers. Oh, yeah. You got to have all the right stuff, the plate solving routines, all that. So it's the same stuff like that. But other than that, very, very powerful, very intuitive program. This Voyager, it's great.
Yeah, the thing that really drew me to it was reliability. Again, I'm running 3 scopes now every clear night, and it just works. And I know that it's not the only software that just works. So my advice is, if you've got something that does what you want and it works, then use it.
Yeah. Do you know Night Skies Network?
I've seen them. Yeah. I've not participated, but I've seen them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he's in New Jersey, and he just reached out to me a couple of days ago. Tomorrow night, he's going to be giving me a rundown on the entire network that he has going on. And so I'm really interested in what he has going on, and all that's run with Voyager too, from what he tells me.
Cool.
So,
I'm looking here on the website just out of curiosity. Is there anything in here that can tell you your computer or system requirements? I'm pretty sure it may like it may be kind of low powered, but I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, I feel like it's on the wiki. It's not very heavy. I've run it on an Intel compute stick with an i3.
Okay.
and then you're fine.
I don't recommend that, but I have run it on that. Yeah, I mean, so here, operating system, 64-bit window.
Okay.
Windows 10 all the way back to, I don't even know if this is true anymore. Windows 7.
XP,
Windows 7,
SP3.
Yeah, that might be true.
Wow.
I don't know. That's going back a ways.
Sure.
A bit. I'm sure I can find a CD I have with it on there somewhere.
Sure. Yeah, but I'm sure most of the most of the common hardware configurations for your PC are really compatible with this. Now, this is primarily IBM Windows based. This isn't compatible with Linux or
no, it's
or
Windows
Mac.
only. Yep, Windows.
Okay.
I got a question from Jim's Astro. He said, "How will this software evolve, and what are the next couple of things that you could add?"
So one of the nice things, if you go on the Voyager forum, let's see, show you the here's the releases, and I was saying before, you can see February 4th, 29 days, January 31st, January 20. There's very regular development releases.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's new things. Sometimes there are bug fixes, and the development releases generally are out once a month, and he calls them the daily builds. And then there are major releases. So here's a major release. You can see all the things, both in Italian and English, that were added. There's a lot of features that are constantly being added, and I'd say at least half of them are based on user requests.
Mm-hmm.
For things that people would like to add. Tends to be new hardware that somebody has that may not have currently been tested with it. Leo really does like to have his hands on the hardware to test it, not just program to a spec and throw it out there. Mm-hmm. And the major thing that's in the cooker right now is the Voyager Advanced.
Okay.
And that's going to be pretty big.
Well, I don't see any other questions unless some of them have already been answered by members of the community already in the chat, which were some repeat questions. But besides that, I don't see anything else, Dan, right now.
No, not yet. I see actually Joe just came on, Joe Sardina, who actually runs Night Skies Network, just popped on. So hi, Joe. We were just talking about your project.
Yeah, he says support is great.
Now, do you have a Discord server for Voyager?
No. So again, I guess we could do community support that way. But if you buy Voyager, you get very nice direct support from Leo.
Right.
He doesn't like supporting via the forum, just because things tend to get all hard to track, and people are chiming in, and it gets kind of hard to follow. So his requirement for support is, you send an email to him on the support email address, and he's usually back to you certainly within 24 hours.
Wow.
but often faster than that. And he'll even, as if you buy a Voyager license, he will help you get your initial drag scripts going as part of the service.
Nice. That's awesome. That's all. It's nice to have somebody that's like hands-on, and not only that's hands-on, but actually, test things out on the equipment too, and just like you said, doesn't just throw out software and hope that it works and then fix the bugs later.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
No. To Roland's point, stability, is key. So I think this is a really solid looking program.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I can't wait to try it out under the stars. I really can't.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll be happy to come back once the advanced is out, and we can just give you a run through of that. It won't take as much time, but
That's okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
No, yeah, we'd definitely love to have you back. No doubt. Yeah, George Lutch keeps on saying, "Show him the advanced."
It's coming. It's coming.
yeah, well,
Eventually.
Yeah, it'll come.
Leo did agree to let me document advanced on my website. So I've got 5 blog posts on Voyager Advanced that are at tourstar.net. So you can see screenshots and kind of a pretty almost wiki level description of what it does.
Nice. And Dennis just asked, what's the cost after the 45-day trial?
It's been a while since I bought a license.
I'm actually on the website, and it says it's 129 euros.
Yeah.
So
it's like 150, something like that.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it's in that. I knew it was in that ballpark, but I wasn't sure the exact number.
So about $142, $143 US.
Yeah, I said 150. All right.
So sub 150, yeah, around 150.
Yeah.
The caliber of software that it is, honestly, anything that's even close is 2 or 3 times that price. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at last GP since they went up to SGP cost more than that in 2 years because they went to a yearly subscription.
Yeah, and this is
looks great. It looks great. I like it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Now, it does mention here that so you have a base license that never expires, and then it has a renewal license.
There's for support and maintenance, there's a lower annual cost if you want to get up, the updates that are constantly coming out, as well as which is really the continued support.
Gotcha. And that's about $30.
Yeah, I mean that's
nothing.
Pittance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually,
it also has it looks like it has a custom license for the array and observatories, but I'll have to ask for a quote for those.
Yeah, there's some standard array prices, but then he's also done custom work for a number of professional observatories. So it's essentially saying, if there's something you need that is beyond what you see here, and you're, you do this for a living, contact me.
Yep.
So
nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Roland.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Nah, yeah, like I said, we like to keep it light and have fun. So, and you definitely did that for us. So thank you for giving us the rundown of Voyager. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Hey, let's see. Jim's Astro says thank you. Dennis says thank you. Mark, you got a bunch of thank yous coming up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of thank yous. Yeah. So yeah, definitely, we'd love to have you back on when Advance is ready to roll.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah. So when Advance comes out, we'll keep in contact.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thanks, Roland.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Right.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night. All right. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I'm kind of serious. I will actually be willing to, step away from the ASI Air and actually give this an actual try at some point.
Eric, you're going to love it. You are going to love it. into it because it is a great program.
Yeah, you know, when you finally get into the things, and Eric, you're a tech guy.
Yeah.
When you're able to control the things that you've never been able to control before, you're gonna realize that, oh my God, this is awesome. But it does become with the level of frustration too, because there's that comfy feeling with like the ASI Air where you just plug it in and go. That you know you can't really you can't break anything.
Right.
In the ASI Air, you really can't. You have to unless you put a magnet on it, you're not going to break it. But you know the whole thing with you're not going to break other programs too. But it's a little bit of finagling you may have to do, especially with either the drag script or something like that. You may put why is this thing focusing 15 times? Well, you know that's when you loaded up the script, you kind of said autofocus after every exposure instead of every whatever. So
Mark saying send me an eagle. I'm all good. Trust me.
Well, Eric, if I get my way, that you may have one, but
there we go. I'm in no rush, but I tell you honestly, because my telescope, I'm literally like 60 feet away from my telescope. I can actually run a USB cable right into my PC if I really wanted to.
I hear you.
Well, the nice thing about this is that you can get into whatever degree of sophistication you want. I mean, it's literally a carte blanche. If you want to get really in depth and you want to do overnight sequencing where you don't have to worry about it, and you want to just create drag scripts, you can. If you just want to be beside your scope for the better part of the night, you can just take a single shot. It gives you that real flexibility, which is just a great little setup. But it's a great program.
It looks very complete.
It does. It does.
So many different options. And I like that drag script. I really do. For people who don't know who aren't coders or anything like that, to create scripts, this method with the drag script, it reminds me a lot. I'm not kidding you. It reminds me a lot of when my kids were doing coding, but they were doing coding for Minecraft. It was basically drag and drop. Filling the block. It was basically block scripts. So you just you would just click blocks together to build your little script or program. It's almost like that. It's really cool.
Let's see. We got I like the fact of hitting multiple targets in one night. Dennis said there's something about a new ASIR release coming out
like
soon.
1.9. It's not, I don't think it's in public beta right now. 1.9 is. I haven't had a chance to really look into see everything that it's bringing out. So I'll be curious actually to read to actually get into ZWO and read a little more about it. It says it's very Nina-like, except the cost, of course, because Nina is free. How would you compare Voyager to Nina?
I gotta tell you, Voyager and Nina are very, very similar. They're very similar. The plate solving is the same. You could use the same programs. It's all ASCOM compliant. The only thing that I think that Voyager might do a little bit better is the whole array system that it has with the Viking and everything. Nina, I don't know if they could go that far. If you're running multiple telescopes like that, Nina, you could run multiple instances, but it takes up a lot of resources, I think, at the end.
Sure. And see, once again, what you have to do, and we've talked about this many, many, many times, is when you get into these programs like Prism, Nina, Voyager, just stay with one and get good at it. Don't jump from program to program, because believe me, just get good with one, because you'll find out that down the road, there's going to be enough updates on that one software that it'll get very compatible to who you're just currently using. So just get good with one. If you choose to stay with Voyager, go with Voyager. If you want to go with Nina, stay with Nina. If you do Prism, stay with Prism. There's so many great programs coming out now. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And you're exactly right, Pete. You gotta don't do what I did for 3 years and jump around from platform to platform to platform and not jack of all trades, master of none. And that's what I was. And I knew a little bit about every program, but I was not very good at doing anything. So until I started realizing, and I learned this at a very late age, as you can tell from the gray hair, that it's like you gotta sit there and focus. If you realize that this is what you want to do, don't go jumping through hoops to get there.
Right.
Jump through the same hoop a couple times. Jump through the same hoop. Use the same program. Make the same mistakes. Once you're solid with that, then add the next hoop. Then add the next hoop. Then add the next hoop. Because if you sit there and just jump over 5 hoops in a row, I guarantee you're going to trip over at least 2 of them.
Yep.
So,
the one thing I didn't ask was, can Voyager do planetary?
I don't know. Most. Well, it does have.
SGP doesn't do planetary, does it?
SGP does not. Neither does Nina.
Right.
But if you add, because they all have the capability of adding a planetarium in there. Okay, so you could kind of back end it. You could use the planetarium to slew to the planet.
Yeah,
and start doing the imaging that way. But it won't go as the target.
Do you remember where he said you set it up and you can actually use like the SkyX, you can use Cyril or whatever,
Yep.
but you can definitely use that. I mean, what I do is I use Voyager on top of my SkyX 64-bit, and literally it just runs the planetarium program. So what I do is if I want, say, like, Simius 47, I just type it into Voyager and then it just slews it and it pops up the program. And I just say, okay, click on the target and it just automatically slews to it.
Yep.
Right. But I'm just saying, can it also do, is it more of a, can it also do high-speed video, for planetary imaging?
That's a good question, because I did see the video. Yeah, I did see.
I didn't see that either.
I didn't see that in there.
No.
Yeah. You might have to go to the ASIR for that one.
Yeah. ASIR, whatever.
That's one of the things that annoys the crud out of me with these, I don't want to say high-end software, but these all-in-one kind of acquisition softwares like Nina, like Voyager, like it does everything in the sky except for, well, depending on how old you are, the 8 planets that you wanted. It'll do. It won't do the moon. It won't do the moon. Won't do the sun. Won't do the moon. Won't do the planets. And I never understood why. I mean, I don't think it has to do with the AVI part of it or the live video part of it. They don't even put it in the Sinbad to find the planets. They didn't put it in there. Can't you just add them? Add the sun, the moon, whatever, I don't know.
That's a good, it's just curious. I'm just curious. I know planetary and solar, they're two different, these are all different aspects of astrophotography, deep sky, planetary, and solar. But still, if you have these types of acquisition suites, it would be kind of nice, to be able to incorporate all of this. I agree. And I'm honest, the ASIR actually does. It does planetary, it does video. So you can do solar, you can do planetary, and you can do deep sky. So
and that's why a lot of people that do the Eagle or a NUC, like somebody said, or some sort of Windows platform or anything else that matter, download something like FireCap. That will do that for you. But I mean, it's just annoying that these other programs don't have that incorporated.
They don't have it incorporated. That's all.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It frustrates me to hell. But I do have some good news. So if you guys have been watching me, I've been since I came out, I've been messing with my phone, looking around a lot on my phone, and it looks like we just picked up another sponsor.
Oh gosh!
It looks like we opt along.
No kidding. Awesome.
So we just picked up another sponsor at the Red Giant level.
Okay.
So it looks like we're going to be getting a shipment of filters from them for giveaways on the show.
Very cool.
So yeah, so I don't want to say names, but somebody from Optalong who I've been talking to for a couple of years just said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to my guys and we'll send it out." I said, okay,
That's very cool.
yeah. So, did they not program the ephemeris for solar system objects? I don't think they did. No,
Doesn't seem now. Doesn't seem to.
yeah. So now the war chest is growing at AstroWorld. So
No, it's really cool. It really is. Seriously, it's really cool.
yeah. Hey, by the way, is Scott sleeping?
I'm not sure where Scott is.
Where's Scott?
I thought maybe you gave him a verbal spanking.
No, not at all. It's just I texted him on the AstroWorld admins thing. I said, "You sleeping?" And no answer.
Jeez.
That's all.
Maybe he's chilling in his lanai.
Yeah.
But what else?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
She said, I'll do my best and I'll get it out as soon as possible. So
That's really cool though. So Optalong, and you have another feather in the cap here. So it's kind of cool.
and we just picked up another guest star. Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Scott just said, real bad electrical storm here.
Oh, there he is. Oh, Astro Playground just popped up. All right.
So that means he came on.
Well, maybe it's shorting out his Wi-Fi or his.
It could be affecting his Wi-Fi or something. Who knows?
Richard Wright got back to me.
All right, good.
And
Fantastic.
yeah, so he's going to be coming on. Looks like May 4th. It looks like so.
Good. So what we'll do is I did get a chance to talk to Chris Woodhouse. Chris is just deciding what day he would like to come on, but he's going to get in touch with you, Dan. So he'll.
Oh, really? He said he wasn't going to do it because of the time lag.
No. He just tell him, just tell him for me. Hey, tell him to stay up. He's just got to stay up.
I told him we'd do a weekend. I said we'd do a weekend. Do a weekend day one day and just.
Sure. We can do that. Yeah.
I said, look, because I know what it's like. We have people. I mean, that guy Simon, did it that day, but we did it at a weird hour. But because it was like the next day, it was like 8:00 in the morning in New Zealand, and it was like 9:00 at night here. But it's like and when I was doing the show with Tim, remember Eric, we were doing it with Tim, and Tim would be up till like 2-3 in the morning chilling out with us, and he did that for like a year.
Yeah.
Do you send email to confirm sign up for newsletter? Jim, I'm working on that. I got you. So yes, we will do that. Florida's getting hit with the bad. Hey, anybody know where Scott actually moved to? What town in Florida?
He was near Tampa, I believe.
Isn't near Tampa? Because I got people that were asking.
They were exactly the exact town. If it's, I don't think it's Tampa proper, but I think it's
somewhere around there.
Just outside of Tampa.
Yeah, so because I got a couple of people asking me, hey, where'd Scott move to, man? We're gonna go bombshell his lanai. We're gonna go.
I don't know.
Go over there.
Like Naples, Florida, or somewhere like that. I'm not 100% sure.
There you go. And what else do we have as far as that's it? As far as new guests, what we do have to do. I didn't tell. I've had it running around the bottom. Bob Santos, who won the Neptune Cam. I saw him at the store, and he said, "You know what? Raffle it again. I don't need another planetary cam. Raffle it again." So we're gonna spin for it. We'll spin for it right now, and if it lands on Bob again, I didn't take him off. But
lands on Bob again.
If it lands on Bob again, we'll just spin it again.
Spin it again.
And let's see. Let me see if I can get this up here. And I have the original one. So, and let's see, desktop capture 1, and there we go. You guys can see it now.
Yep.
All right, cool. So here we go. This is for the Neptune cam. So for anybody who donated for the Neptune cam is still on this. I saved this wheel. So here we go.
Go for it. Spin it.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
And
Timothy Sessoms. Timothy Sessoms, you have won the Neptune cam. Please email me. Please email me at dan@astroworldweb.com. Give me your mailing address. And if you're on Long Island, maybe we could hook up. If not, I'll send it to you. And you're able to get that. So that comes with the infrared cut filter and the camera. So congratulations to Timothy.
congrats.
Thank God it didn't land on Mark Ellis, because I got to say, now that that's over, Mark Ellis said the same thing. I don't need a cam. I just wanted to donate to the channel. God bless those guys. So thank you guys for the donations. And all these donations are going to all the perks that if you join the community on YouTube, it goes to all your perks. So shirts, hats, whatever. I'm taking all that money and buying stuff to give to the membership. So it's not about making money, it's about giving back. So that's what it's all about. So I just don't want to. The last thing I ever wanted in this is two things: not a one-trick pony, and not a money grab. And it's not what it is. This is all about the community, making people better, making us better, all of us learn, and building the community. And that's really what it's all about. Just all the knowledge.
That's why I enjoy being part of this thing, man.
It's so much fun, man.
It's fun. I do it because it's fun. Blast.
Well, you're the longest one that's hung out with me, so I guess you got some sort of credit for you. I don't know either. But I'm telling you, we got to start talking about. We got to seriously start talking about the AstroWorld, because come the middle of next month, the June Cherry Spring Star Party is going to be opening up for registration.
Oh wow!
I think it's June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that weekend, that new moon weekend.
Yeah.
They're doing their own one. We were planning to go to one before that, and not dealing with all that.
Right.
But you're talking first week of May, which is 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away, which might be too soon. And then we got. I'll tell you. But we might. If
three kids, so yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment.
I got 5 kids to feed. Oh, you got me.
Oh,
Benny's the name, Benny. but if you want to do it, if we want to set it up, we should set it up.
We have to figure it out, because
offline we got to think about it.
Yeah, because this year I've got so many things happening. Because actually, like in June, I'm going out of town, so I'll have to figure something out.
I still have this. And unfortunately it's green here, so that's why it looks like it's going through. But this never happened because of COVID. So the first official, unsanctioned, unverified AstroWorld Star Party was supposed to be summer of 2021, and it never happened. So I'm hoping I just have to change the number and do summer of 2022, and then it'd be great. So we had 10.
Maybe we could figure something out. When is new moon in July?
It's probably about the first week or last week in June again.
I'd have to take a quick look. And
might be 4th of July weekend.
Oh wow! Ugh. No, I can't.
It might be. I'm just going off the top of my head.
Well, you could actually start the 20. No, well, you could actually do June 25th, but darn it, I'll be out of town. That stinks. The last weekend of July. That's actually the last week of July is New Moon Week. So if you take a look at, because the 28th of July is actually the actual day of New Moon.
We're finally getting spammed again. Hold on a second.
Oh boy.
Finally getting spammed again. Report.
Yep.
You're getting reported as pornography. I don't know what you're doing, but
I
you're
don't
going as
know.
I think I got them before they caused any trouble.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So the July 28th is actually new moon. So that's a Thursday. So if you do like that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's still perfectly fine. I mean, you still
yeah,
have basically new moon on the 29th, 30th, and the 31st.
yeah. So that'll be and even then, it's going to come up really late. Where did Pete
It's
go?
going to come up super late. Yeah.
He just dropped off.
Did we
But
drop off again?
he'll be back. Oh, there he goes. He's back.
Did Pete drop off? Oh, I thought YouTube kicked us off again.
No. Pete had stone face again. Yeah, we weren't sure if he was moving or not. He was like, but yeah. So that may be a good the last weekend in July.
Yeah. Think about it. So we have to see, what's a possibility that because like I said, in June I'm actually out of town. So if we wanted to try to do something the last week of July, there's a possibility right there. That may be a better possibility for me.
So we'll throw it out to the rest, and then we'll throw it out to the membership because the last time we set this up last year, we had 11 people going.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool, and it never happened. So I mean, well, now we're -1 because some idiot decided to move to Florida and then have a massive like power outage and not come on the show tonight. So,
oh man, anyway.
he's there listening. That's the only reason why.
He's like right now. Damn spammers. But anyway,
I'm gonna be missing Scott's final thought tonight. I'm ready. I was wondering what bombshell he was gonna lay on us. But
that's funny.
But yeah, so we only have 3 of us, but I know Jessie put her vote in for. Did you take a look, Pete, for the picture of the week?
No, unfortunately, I was working late until about 5:45, so I didn't get a chance to really see what we've got.
Work's overrated. Come on, man. So we only had a couple. We only had 2, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, there was only really 2 images. Both of them really good, though.
Let's see if I can pull them up real quick. Photos. No, it's under. I keep on going under photos. They're under Drive. And Astrophoto, Astropod submissions. And here is the first one. There you go.
Yep, the cigar.
Sorry about how small it is.
Yep.
Let's see if I could. There you go.
Yep.
But no, I do think this was a nice photo. I think it was well done.
Yep, definitely either made star spikes or a newt, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Is that M81?
82.
82. Okay.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
and then
this was done with the 294 mono.
Okay.
On a Richie Creechin Ioptron R6, so a tube R6.
RC6, yep.
R6, RC8 rather, RC8.
Okay.
Richie Creechin, and at Unity Gain, and in Bortle 7 Skies in Springfield, Virginia.
Springfield, oh, okay.
Springfield, Virginia, yeah. So the majority, like most of it, he did HA, 300, so done a bunch of HA. So this is HAL RGB.
Got it.
So very interesting. Yeah.
And then we got the last one. Here you go. That's a trunk.
Yes.
Yep.
And this one was done with William Optics Gran Turismo 102, GT 102. With the ASI 183 MC.
Wow. Okay.
This is only 4.5 hours of integration.
From where?
It doesn't say where. Bordeaux 3 Sky out of a
Okay.
a trip to a Bordeaux 3 site near his home. This was a summer shot done a couple years ago, because we said, it doesn't matter when it was taken.
Yep.
But so this was done back in June of 2020.
Okay.
Just before new moon. But 4.5 hours.
Wow.
That's nice. That's a nice image.
That is a nice, like I said, that is a nice image.
Yep. I like the detail. I like the color.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just look at that. That is a nice job of post-processing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay. Scott, he says he likes the cigar.
Okay.
Okay.
I like this one right here.
Okay, the elephant.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that makes it 4-3, I think, right?
So that was close.
That makes it 4-3.
That was that was close.
They're,
That was a
they're
close
both
vote.
great.
Because they're both great. They're really They're really great. Both very well processed. So very, very tight one. Very tight voting amongst ourselves. But so who got it, Dan?
So by a vote of 4-3, we have the cigar.
M82. All right.
The cigar number 4-3 was the cigar. So I came this close to changing my vote to the trunk. I came this close, but I was going to change it on the show until Pete said the trunk, and then we're 4-4. So I'm like, God, I'm not changing that. Yeah.
No, congratulations there, Dave.
Absolutely. Both great photos.
Both
great
photos, though. Both of them.
Yeah, awesome. So I just love this. Even though that that M82 was blanched out, like the main arms were blanched out, kind of. It was like very, very white.
Mm-hmm.
The detail in the HA area I thought was just awesome.
Oh yeah.
So that the little explosion coming out the top and the bottom.
Oh yeah. What makes M82 so great is that explosion of HA right there in the middle. But it's just something. It was just for me. I voted for the elephant. It was just something for me. It was just the processing. And if we take a quick look at the elephant again, that top crown.
Yes.
Yeah, with the red behind it.
Yeah, with the hydrogen behind it, that almost like a hydrogen halo.
Yeah. It almost looks like a halo, really.
Exactly.
Right
Yeah.
It's like a hydrogen, almost like a hydrogen shadow behind it. Almost almost makes it feel like 3-dimensional.
Yep.
I definitely, there's something about, it's just like the scopes, right? The carbon fiber and red scope rings, the red and the black, right?
Yep.
No, but both images. The details, the structure. Look at that. Look at the detail here.
This whole detail in here, which if I could get even close, I can't get any closer than that. That's it.
But that.
Well, when you bring this up, all this when you get in there in the black here.
Yes,
it's just pretty cool, and I really like the star color, and
No,
but,
again,
great photos.
They're both really good.
Great photos.
Yep,
absolutely.
I love this new program I'm working with. So I'm using, Eric, you'll know what I'm saying, but I'm using vMix going to Melon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could remember this. Hold on, let's see if it'll show. Hold on. There it's there on that side. The late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'll close you for a second. Here you go. Check it out. Remember that?
So you're using a mix of it. So you're using vMix with Melon. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm able to put like stuff on the bottom now and different titles and stuff like that through vMix into Melon.
There you go.
So, but
yeah, but I agree with Jim also. It is hard to get that detail, in cigar. But I still, my vote's my vote. But I do agree with you.
No, listen, if they weren't both good, it wouldn't have been that close.
Yeah, really. That
You
was
know what I
tough.
mean?
That was a tough vote.
And I'm still waiting for a couple of other of our members to kind of chime in on votes. Tegan, where are you? I don't know. Tyler, where are you? I don't know.
Tyler did vote.
Oh, Tyler did vote. Tyler voted on the cigar. That's right.
Yeah, he voted on cigar.
And Simon was probably sleeping.
Simon didn't chime in, but Jessie did. She voted for cigar.
Jessie chimed in. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, just let's in closing up. What's that?
We've hit the 2.5 hour mark.
Yep.
229. Yeah. Well, 229 is also including 20 minutes of pre-music. So remember that.
Okay.
So just remember, we got the upcoming guests. Our next guest is going to be on 3/18. So that's 9 days from today. So that's a week from Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right. That'll be Hendrik, and we got to keep our fingers crossed because he's off the email radio right now. So I haven't heard from him in a while. Scott Roberts, I confirmed with last night on Global Star Party number 85. So that was a lot of fun doing that show. That was a lot of fun. I was on with him for about 20 minutes, plugging AstroWorld and just talking about stuff. Then we got Bob Denny on April 6th, Charles Bracken on the 13th, and then we now have Richard Wright on the 4th of May. So that's going to be very, very cool. Very cool. And soon we'll be getting, I think Colin's going to book for May too. So,
okay.
And Chris Woodhouse too. So,
yep, we got a bunch more. I've got a bunch of people I can reach out to. So we'll have us booked right through the summer.
Nice. Just don't book through our vacation.
No.
Let's see what else.
Do we have it? Did he say here, Dan? You should bring the host of this show to GSP.
Oh, we will. As a matter of fact, I didn't even tell everybody. So last night went very well. I spoke very, very fast as usual, and Scott pretty much said that anytime that we want to come back as a team to come on Global Star Party and tout whatever we want to tout, AstroWorld or whatever, and we can come on whenever we want. So all we got to do, and that's it. So so we're more than welcome to come on to any one of the global. He'll give us a slot. It's usually about a 15-minute segment, but it's really, really cool because before I was on, Dave Levy was on. I forgot her name. The president of the Astronomical League was on. There was so many people giving it like 15, 20-minute PowerPoint presentations, and there's a gentleman was on there talking about geology and minerals and stuff like that. It's really quite interesting. It's not only about astronomy. So he had about 9 or 10 guest stars, and it's like a 5-hour show. It's like long. Yeah, it's like a 5-hour show, but it doesn't. We don't have to stay on that long. We can kind of get on for our 20 minutes and then get off.
Yeah,
Who's texting me? Did I not get my cave? What cave?
Oh, this is the Cave Nebula with Mark?
Yes, that is Mark texting me.
Yeah, so he's saying, I think it's the Cave Nebula.
Did we do that last week, the cave?
I don't think so.
Did I miss it?
Uh-oh. You're on his list.
Oh, dear.
I got to look. Hold on.
Here.
Out. Mark's on the warpath.
Previous weeks.
I'm actually because I'm looking back at here's
Oh,
no,
shoot.
it was last week.
It was last week.
It was last week.
It was last week. Okay, because it's in previous week, 3-1.
Yep, I found it in previous week. Yep, it was in 3-1.
Uh-oh, so we missed it then.
Yeah,
No, we didn't miss it.
No, but we didn't miss it. But you must.
We didn't miss it.
Exciting about it.
Yeah, we definitely went over it on the show last week, I think.
Yep, we did.
Oh,
We did.
yeah. See, Dave said there was okay. Good, we didn't miss it. Okay,
No,
sorry.
we didn't miss it. We're all good.
Dave, thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Whew. I thought I made a boo boo.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to flip the script one day. And
I was thinking about that. I was totally thinking about that.
And do our own and put it out there for others, within the community. We post, on the website and let some of the guys, and we give, people who want to hop in, let them vote, on the website or something.
Well, I'm getting slammed by Mark, I guess. All right, so Mark, if I didn't do it, I apologize. I will throw it in next week. I'll move it out of that folder. I could have sworn I could have sworn we went over it.
We did it.
But you're gonna make me go over the video. I'm gonna roll the videotape.
Get beam footage in.
But if I did miss it, I'll apologize to Mark. I'm sorry if I did miss it. And if I did miss it, I'll put it in the next week one, so it won't be forgotten. Right. So I definitely do apologize if I did miss it. There was a lot of pictures. We had like 9 pictures last week, if I remember. So, all right. I don't know. Anything else? We're at 11:30 almost.
No. So I got maybe halfway into into my green filter before the clouds rolled in on my M82. So I'm just gonna have to wait and see when I can snag this. Hopefully, I'll get some time later this week, and I'll be able to grab the rest of green and blue. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like the night that I could test a couple of things. I'm only gonna have about 3 hours of like maybe non-cloudy skies. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that I could do 2 things. One is get the 127 back up there so I could test the Arco. Number 2, get my EQM 35 with the Red Cat out there with the ASI Air and test that out. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. The Arco. I didn't tell you. You want to hear this? So I told you that I needed another adapter from Precise Parts for the Arco, right? Yeah. It turns out that the Precise part, I had it already. It was on the Asato. So when I took it off the Asato, it fit the Arco, and the other side fit the flattener. So I just threw it back and I canceled the Precise Parts. So I'm good to go. So I didn't know that the Arco and the Asato on the back side and the front side were both M81s. Probably should have checked that, but I said, it looks pretty close. Let me see it. Sure enough, it spins right on there, and I was like, all right. And I slapped everything on there. And hey, there you go. I saved myself another $172 or whatever it was.
Yeah. But, no, you know what? I was actually this afternoon. I was tinkering around a little bit with my 8-inch Schmidt with my 8, and trying to figure out, can I use my DSLR with this guy with the off-axis guider? And so I ended up finding I just Googled it really quick and ended up finding one of Chuck's old videos that actually showed how to do it. It had to be 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, all right. So I can use it. And so I have to play around with my full frame Canon and the on the Edge 8 with the off axis guider to see how that would fare, for Galaxy season. I'm
Cool.
just thinking, for stuff for Galaxy season.
Nice. All right. Well,
Yeah.
My throat's going.
Yep. I'm running out of water here, so I'm all good. I think I'm done.
And I got one more bit of whiskey sour, so
Yeah, I think I'm done.
ah,
But no, this was a great show. I really,
Yeah.
it was great to have Roland come on here because I'm serious. I think I may, once I'm able to get some things squared away, I think I actually want to download Voyager just, even for the 45 days and just to give it a try. See how
do it, man. The only thing I would say, the one bump in the road that I had was connecting the actual focuser.
Mhm.
It was I got to look at it again, but in the focuser, there's nothing that says ASCOM focuser. It says something else that you could use with the ASCOM focuser, but it doesn't actually say ASCOM in the title.
Gotcha.
If I remember right. Is that right, Pete?
Yeah.
It says something like it says something. It doesn't say ASCOM focuser. Everything else says ASCOM mount, ASCOM this, ASCOM that. The focuser does not.
Yeah. The one thing is like as he was saying, the RoboFire. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
pretty nice.
That
that's
looks
the only
great.
algorithm in there, and it's a great little algorithm. It's
Yeah.
good. Once you get it set up in First Light, it just you're set. Yeah. I got for everybody here. This afternoon, I got a client of mine that called. He's got an FSQ 130. He's got a TOA 150. And what he wants is he wants to get an Optec Gemini. So I got to remove the stock focuser. Okay. However, I have to know what the thread is on the back of the scope. I mean, there's nothing on Takahashi that tells me what the thread is on that scope. And I know I'm going to have to come up with some kind of a custom adapter here, but I'm just wondering if maybe anybody out there that knows what the thread is on the back of a Takahashi FSQ 130 and a TOA 150. Let me know.
Well, I think I could be wrong. He may have the 130, but I think that Eddie Z, who's in the chat, has a TOA 150. I think. I could be wrong. He either has a 130 or a 150, but if he's still on, I don't know if you could grab that for him, Eddie. But if not, I have his phone number. So I could ask him which one he has and find out. But the only other people that I know that own, I think I might know one other person. My friend Bill Bradley has a TOA, and I think it's a 6-inch. So
I'm thinking that even though the FSQ 130 is discontinued, I'm sure that they got to be the same thread size with the TOA 150. So the key is this guy wants to put a QHY monochrome camera with the filter wheel with the Gemini. So I'm coming up with everything that has to be done on it. So I got to find out. We're going to take
how to get the focuser on. Yeah.
So I'm sitting here racking my brains. I was spending like an hour and a half trying to see where I could find out what the thread size is on the back of that scope tube, but there's just nothing.
I can't believe there's nobody you could contact over even at Land, Sea, and Sky, or.
Well, yeah, I reached out to Darren Lauer, but he hasn't called. He hasn't replied to my emails. Now it was back on Monday, so I got to send him another email tomorrow morning. But Darren's pretty good, but for something he hasn't responded. So anyway, just food for thought. If anybody knows.
Yeah, I got a couple of people I could reach out to. No promises. I don't know if they have the exact scope, but we could see. Yep. Yeah.
Good guys. Well, listen, guys, great show.
Great show.
Absolutely. As always, great photos, and I just enjoy coming on Wednesdays and Fridays. It's just
well, everybody, get your photos in for next picture of the week. Get your photo in because we only had 2 entries in this week. I know we got 30 or 40 people that come on the show. And starting the 16th, that's in a week from tonight, we will be putting in our first newsletter. So you'll be getting the first newsletter. I'll only be doing that once a month. Maybe a what's in the sky type thing as well. I might do. Probably going to be geared more towards astrophotography. Maybe one object for telescopes under 1,000, one object for telescopes over 1,000, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that yet. I got 7 days to figure that out. Nothing like procrastinating, right?
Like that comes to taxes too, right?
Oh, geez. Oh, wait. I didn't even do mine yet.
Yeah.
I'm usually done by now. Usually my birthday weekend, first week in February, I call my accountant and say, dude, when you coming? And
oh, cool.
All right, fellas.
All right, guys. Well, hey, again, thank you everybody for coming on. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Roland, for for joining us. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Roland, thanks so much.
Always, so appreciate it.
All right. Let's see if I can get this rolling here, get the outro going and set and ready to go. And let's see, why does this do this to me here? There we go. All right, cool. All right. So everybody have a good night. Be safe, be happy. Hopefully everybody got, some clear skies eventually. All right. All right, everybody have a good night. And as always, remember, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you in 2 days.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.
All righty then.